What's good, y'all? My name is Lucas Lyons, and we got some things to talk about. Got the microphone on deck, no longer using the camera. Welcome back to Racial Puberty. Got the webcam going because now I can show my screen some of the things that I want to discuss, some of the things that I want to talk about. This might not be too long of an episode. I don't have much in the way to discuss of the racial puberty journey, but I always got to touch on that always. And I do want to talk about, we got an election in 2 months, about 2.5 months. That might take up a good portion of things. Still got the turtleneck on, still out here. First thing I wanted to talk about is the brainwashing. Countless Black people have spoken about brainwashing. Two in particular that come to mind. Bobby Wright, when he talks about menticide and, the destruction of the mental state of a group of people. And, see my other videos, see future videos. There is the destruction of the Black mind when it comes to education in this country. And what Black people are taught to believe and how Black people are taught. And then, there's Martin Luther King Jr., who literally used the word brainwashing in Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community. Literally use the word brainwashing. And sometimes when you say brainwashing, that sends off, tinfoil hats, conspiracy theories when you hear the word brainwashing. But Martin Luther King Jr., one of the most prolific Americans, people, Black men, Black persons of all time, talking about brainwashing. And it also works in the reverse, where we have now white people, as you can see, this NPR report talking about how, this is 3 years ago, but Eddie Glaude in Democracy in Black, Robin DiAngelo talks about it as well. How about a good percent, slightly over half of white Americans think that discrimination is just as bad, if not worse, against white people as it is against Black people. And Robin DiAngelo in her book White Fragility talks about it as well. Nearly half of all millennials, because it's not just an old white person thing, which is that's an argument. When all the older white people die off, racism will die off, and absolutely not the case. Nearly half of all millennials think that discrimination is just as bad against white people as it is against Black people. And that's a problem. You look through the history of this country, white affirmative action all throughout the history of this country, and now all of a sudden the tables are being turned. How, Sway? Make it make sense. How does that work? And this is why we have to talk about racial puberty, build that racial stamina to have these conversations, because it can be difficult unless you have the facts, you got the data to back you up. And I also wanted to, talk about Richard Spencer backing Joe Biden, because I'm about to talk about, the Democratic DNC disrespect. I have these conversations a lot with the Black people that I know and talk to and have these conversations with, and I'm sick of having to explain why, of course, I'm not going to vote for Trump, and why I'm not going to vote for this Biden-Harris ticket. What? But before we jump to that, Richard Spencer backing Joe Biden, I'm not sure if that's a good look. You're talking about this MAGA alt-right moment is over, but I want to get to the specific quote. The specific quote that he has, this came out today, it was August 24th, talking about Trump, obvious disaster, obviously, needs to end. Be patient. Look at this. What? Be patient. We'll have another day in the sun. We need to recover and return in a new form. That's that. Come on now. Come on. Be patient. Hide. Gather your strength until you're strong enough to come back up from under the rock from which you came. Wait and gather. What? It was Richard Spencer voting for Biden. That must be a good look for Biden, Wait, we'll have another day in the sun. We need to recover, return in a new form. New paint, same old engine. New paint, same old engine. I'm curious to see what they come back as, if they come back. Disgusting. Keep an eye out for that. You got people like Richard Spencer backing Biden, which all in itself is not, it is what it is. Sometimes you might have people with different ideals backing you, but is that a different ideal from Biden, Jim Crow Joe? I don't think so. Let's talk about, where's this open? Let's talk about the DNC. First of all, Biden leaves reparations out of the equity plan. No. I'm not so afraid of Trump that I'm going to vote for Biden. That's my stance. That's where I am. I'm not so afraid of Trump where I'm like, oh, we got to get him out of office, because that's the argument. And that's what the DNC was about. I am not Trump. I am not this guy. No specific policy about how they're going to help the most loyal group. Look at this chart. The most loyal group. Excuse me. The most loyal group to the Democratic Party. Over years, we vote in blocks for the Democratic Party. Historically, that's been the case. And no talk about what we're going to do for black people. 88% for Clinton. No talk about what's going to be done for black people. In fact, he went out of his way. Biden went out of his way to say, nah, I'm not going to do anything. Why should I pay for something that happened 300 years ago? As if there aren't effects of it today. Read Dr. William Darity's, I was about to say Sarity, Sandy Darity's book. Come on now. There would be no America. There would be no global economy without black people. And I'm not just talking about chattel slavery. Come on now. Racial puberty, learn the history. Okay? So he went out of his, he already said he ain't doing nothing. And look at your girl.
Let's be clear about that.
Look at your girl.
Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
What?
Black people? No. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. To really be clear about that.
Huh?
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people.
No!
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people.
No!
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people.
No! What we need is something that's only going to benefit black people at this point. How much data information do we need? I mean, we need to do like Richard Spencer, crawl under a rock, gather our strength, and come back. No, how much longer should we wait? Kamala Harris, I forget sometimes. I mean, no disrespect to the woman. But no, you heard, no. Benefit who? No. So Biden clearly said no reparations. She's here saying no. Why do black people, why? And I'm not even going to talk about, I might put some links down below, because I think some other YouTube channels, some other news outlets do a better job than I do. I mean, you could just Google it. Her track record is, I got my notes here ready. I can make I should probably do it, but there are people who do it a little better than I do. I'm here to just put some things together that I saw that would help increase my racial understanding, get my knowledge right for this election coming up. But you got Kamala Harris. You got even the Wall Street execs saying she's more of a moderate. Where is that? Saying she's more of a moderate than a liberal. She's good at fundraising. All in itself is not that bad, but Wall Street's looking at her like, where does it say? She's less of a liberal, more of a moderate, which is, I guess, what people want her to be. I encourage you, look at this article. I forget exactly where. Oh, here we go. Harris reinforces the notion that the Democratic ticket, not just her, the whole Democratic ticket, more moderate than progressive. What we need is progressive policies. What we need is reparations. Shoot. You got Wall Street execs saying, yes. What Wall Street ever done for black people? Come on now. They know what the deal is. They know the game. And so we got Biden, we got Kamala not doing anything for their most loyal block of voters. And Tone Talks, Antonio Moore talked about this too, about like just the DNC, how it was really just a wagging of the finger saying, you need to vote. Get out there and vote. No condemnation of how the greater white populace, that white bread, when I talk about the general white populace, that's what I mean by that white bread. Watch my previous videos. Got him into office. If black people didn't vote at all, we sat 2016 out completely. Whose responsibility was it? Who put Trump in the office? And now you looking at us talking about we got to get Trump out? No. The same way Kamala said no to reparations? No. I'm not that afraid of Trump. In fact, I'm glad that he shows just how hypocritical America is. Shows America's true, America's always showing its true colors, but truly showing America's true colors. You know what I mean? I'm not that afraid of Trump that I got to go vote for. No! Biden leaving reparations out. Get out of here with that, man. And then you got your man. I had to hit the control fine. See when he talking about black people and the whole transcript. I'd recommend you give it a little glance. Mentions black people, 4 times? But I want to talk about one specific time. Because, again, no condemnation of, most of the white eligible voters are the ones that got Trump in office. No conversation about that. No conversation about that. It's about you need to go out and vote. Democracy was never meant to be transactional. Give me your vote. I make everything better. What? Democracy was never meant to be transactional? I'm not just going to vote for you. What are you providing to me? My community? My country? The answer to that for black people has been nothing. For a little too long, I think. So when I get into these conversations, it's mainly with black people. White people really don't have, at least some of the white people that I've spoken to, haven't had the gumption or the moxie to sort of question, or rather, if I'm being honest, I don't really get into it. I don't feel like getting into having that conversation. I don't find myself in too many opportunities to have that conversation, but I don't. No. Because what I've heard and what I'm hearing indirectly is get Trump out of office. I'm not trying to get into that. I'd rather talk to black people about black politics, about the brainwashing that's going on, and no. But to continue on, here we go. Where does he's listing off, where are we? Listing off, here we go. Whatever our backgrounds, we're all children of Americans who fought for the good fight. Great-grandparents working in fire traps and sweatshops without rights or representation, farmers losing their dreams to dust, Irish, Italians, and Asians, Latinos being told go back to where you came from, Jews and Catholic, Muslim, Sikhs being disrespected because of the way they worship, black Americans chained and whipped and hanged, spit trying to set at lung counters, beaten, excuse me. I bring this up because the history of the descendants of slaves in this country, there needs to be more reverence around that history. Never the oppression Olympics. I hate that. that notion. But to lump in Black Americans, specifically the descendants of slavery, but Black Americans, the descendants of slavery, with the way any other people in this country have been denied Americanness is the ultimate form of disrespect. When you talk about fighting the good fight, it was on the backs of Black Americans on which this country was built. Chattel slavery, neo-slavery, American apartheid, redlining, mass incarceration. I mean, to just make it seem like, you know, they lost their crops in dust, or, you know, they were told to go back to Africa, even though when there were colonization efforts, they said, no, we're staying here. Frederick Douglass said, no, we are staying here. We built this country, we're going to stay here. To compare to, you know, the way that, you know, religious people have been persecuted, for sure, for their beliefs. And just to say, you know, Black Americans chained, whipped, hanged, is the ultimate form of disrespect. Talk about what really happened, Obama. Talk about how we voted for you nearly 95% both terms, and you did nothing. Nothing. You want to talk about the Senate held him back? No executive orders. Nothing. The condescending attitude, specifically towards Black people, can no longer continue, and I have faith that it's not going to continue. There needs to be a level of reverence around the history, that our history, the same way, in a similar vein, like this should have been who called him out on this. You know, shout out to ToneTalks who brought it to my attention. Besides that, who's calling Obama out on this stuff? It's shameful. You know, who's calling out Sheila Jackson Lee? Was she talking about Kamala Harris? Because it's not about her. Before we get to that, it's not about her being Black. You know, Valerie Russ wrote this article. It's clearly stating it's not about Black enough. It's about what will you support for Native Black Americans who will have zero wealth in a couple of years, who, regardless of their educational attainment, their family structure, have less wealth than a white high school dropout and have been here since its inception. Who? What? It's not about her being Black. It's about.
What? So I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm gonna do something that's only gonna benefit Black people.
No, that's what it's about.
Whatever benefits.
That's what it's about. And so we have people like Sheila Jackson Lee also in charge. I think she's in charge of HR 40 right now, needs to be changed. You know, we write letters to your Congress. We're going to get to that about letter writing and all that stuff. Talking about taking us to the mountaintop. Who took us to the mountaintop of Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream? Because we all like to sugarcoat and whitewash, so to speak, Martin Luther King Jr.'s ideas. He was about that financial freedom, that financial education. He was about reparations. Called for billions of dollars. We now know it's trillions, billions of dollars for it was the federal government, he said, that needs to, they did this, they need to fix it. Sheila Jackson Lee, what are you talking about? Taken to the mountaintop. What mountaintop? What? See, this is why I make these videos, because I need to get myself straight. I need to get my own thoughts together. Glad to bring you along with me. But yeah, never Biden, never Harris. That don't mean I'm voting for Trump, never Trump. But he's here now. Why? But he's here now. Whose responsibility is it? It is transactional. Black people should not vote for Biden Harris unless they say, Yep, we doing reparations. Yeah, it's justice. Now you don't deserve. It's justice. You know, it is what it is. That's where I'm gonna end it. I was looking all over the place during the video. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Racial puberty, getting our racial education on. I forgot how I end these things. It's been so long. Hopefully, I'll get another video in the next week. I'm gonna try to produce as much content as possible. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. In the words of Malcolm X and Demcad, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Now, let me make sure I know how to end this thing. Thank you.